right? If they prove in court that Milagro don't count as media, they were about to go after everybody else. They was about to go after academics, after Aiden Ross, after everybody else. And the judge kind of ruled pretty early on that he would leave it up to the jury to decide whether or not Milagro and others like Milagro.
The moment Milagro Gramz went from online commentator to the center of a courtroom dispute did not happen overnight. For years, she built a huge audience by talking about the long-running conflict involving Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. Her live streams, posts, and breakdowns attracted thousands of viewers who followed every update closely. As her platform grew, so did the impact of the claims she repeated about Megan and the events that originally brought the two artists into the public spotlight. When the legal case involving Tory Lanez concluded in 2022, many people expected conversations online to settle down. Instead, the debate intensified. Milagro continued insisting that Megan had not been truthful, and she repeated those claims across multiple platforms. Megan eventually decided that the commentary had gone too far. She filed a civil defamation lawsuit accusing Milagro of spreading false information that harmed her career and her reputation. The lawsuit made it clear that Megan believed the online narratives were crossing a line. By the time the case reached a jury, both sides were under intense attention. Megan's legal team presented video clips and posts where Milagro suggested Megan had fabricated key parts of her story. They argued that these repeated statements created real damage for Megan at a time when she was already dealing with emotional and professional fallout.
I don't care how other platforms is gonna paint this, but Megan Thee Stallion took a L. Regardless of what headlines you see today about this Megan Thee Stallion and Milagro lawsuit verdict, Megan Thee Stallion took a L.
The jury listened to hours of argument, reviewed the online material, and considered how Milagro's commentary shaped public perception. The verdict changed everything. The jury ruled that Milagro's statements were defamatory and awarded Megan more than $150,000 in damages. It was a clear decision that sent a message about the responsibilities that come with having a large online platform. The same audience that pushed Milagro into the spotlight also witnessed the legal consequences of what she chose to say. This was not a criminal case, it was a civil ruling, but the impact went far beyond the financial judgment. It became one of the first high-profile examples of an online personality being held legally responsible for commentary tied to a major celebrity dispute. And for many people, the verdict felt like the final chapter in a story that had dominated social media for years. Milagro Gramz built her platform by speaking directly to an audience that followed every update involving Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. Her live streams often ran for hours, and she broke down court documents, media reports, and social media reactions in real time. For many viewers, she became one of the loudest voices covering the situation. The challenge was that her commentary did not stay neutral.
How you feeling today, Megan?
And the explosive, headline-grabbing criminal trial that followed, Megan says that criticism has turned into a full-scale attack.
Just because you have freedom of speech, that does not mean you have freedom to bully.
She regularly questioned Megan's honesty, and those statements reached audiences far beyond her core supporters. As the online conversations escalated, Megan's team kept track of what was being said. They argued that Milagro's commentary was not presented as speculation, but as fact, and that it created real harm to Megan's public image. Screenshots, live stream clips, and social media posts became evidence. The lawsuit focused on specific moments where Milagro suggested Megan had misled the public. According to Megan's team, these statements were repeated widely and contributed to ongoing confusion about events that had already been addressed in court. What made the case unique was the role of social media. Milagro was not a journalist working for a major outlet. She was an online personality with a large following and enough influence to shape the conversation. Her supporters argued that she was simply expressing her opinion. Megan's team argued that the way she framed her commentary carried the weight of factual claims. The jury had to decide whether those statements were protected opinion or harmful misinformation. This was where the tone of Milagro's She did not simply raise questions. She insisted that Megan was being dishonest, and she repeated those claims long after official court fined public.
Because if we do, then we have certain protections and certain rights and certain things that have to happen in order to properly sue us and go through certain channels. Megan Thee Stallion was arguing that people like Milagro, myself, again, her team even called academics for deposition. So they were lining it up.
The lawsuit claimed this created a damaging narrative that affected affected Megan's reputation and emotional well-being. When the jury reviewed the material, they saw how many people had viewed and shared the comment. That reach played a major role in the final decision. Milagro's rise as an online commentator had given her a powerful voice. The lawsuit showed that this influence came with responsibility. What she said resonated with thousands of people, and in a civil court, that was enough to hold her accountable for the impact of her words. When the civil case finally reached the courtroom, the energy shifted immediately. The jury was shown a long collection of clips where Milagro spoke directly to her audience, insisting that Megan was not telling the truth. These were not quick posts or passing comments. They were repeated statements delivered across live streams, reaction videos, and updates that attracted thousands of viewers at a time. Megan's team argued that the consistency of those claims, combined with the size of Milagro's audience, created real and measurable harm. The courtroom focused heavily on how Milagro presented her commentary. The jury heard that she did not frame her statements as guesses or speculation. She delivered them with confidence and positioned them as information her audience could trust.
Hold on to that last statement because that's very important. They was also in court to prove whether or not Milagro and other social media bloggers like myself, whether or not we count as media and as journalists and as official media.
Megan's lawyers explained that this made the impact stronger, especially because the subject involved a legal matter that had already been resolved. They argued that continuing to challenge Megan's honesty after the official verdict encouraged people to doubt her publicly, which affected her reputation, her career opportunities, and her mental well-being. Milagro's defense attempted to position her content as opinion. They said she was simply doing what many online personalities do, reacting to public information and sharing her thoughts. The jury had to decide whether her commentary crossed the line from personal opinion into harmful misinformation. To make that determination, they reviewed how often Milagro repeated the same claim and how her audience responded to them. The turning point came when the jury saw how far her statements had spread. Viewers had taken her words and repeated them across social media, creating new conversations that kept Megan in a negative spotlight long after the original case ended. The court did not need to show that Milagro, they only needed to show that her statements caused. Once that connection was established, her defense became harder to uphold. By the time closing arguments were delivered, the jury had heard. They understood the reach of Milagro's platform and the effect her commentary had on public perception. The court made it clear that online influence carries the same response as traditional media spreading false. This was the moment in its favor. Once the jury reviewed all the material, their decision came down to one central question. Did Milagro's statements create real harm by presenting false claims as truth? The answer, according to the verdict, was yes. The jury found that her commentary went beyond casual speculation. It was delivered repeatedly, confidently, and in a way that encouraged people to doubt Megan's character long after the legal system had already settled the matter. The court pointed to several key factors. Milagro had a large and highly engaged audience, which meant her statements reached far beyond a small group of followers. Her live streams were watched by thousands, and clips from those streams circulated across social platforms. That reach meant her words carried influence. When she insisted that Megan was not being honest, many viewers adopted the claim and repeated it elsewhere, amplifying the effect. Another major factor was the timing. Megan's team reminded the jury that Milagro continued making these statements even after official findings were made public. The court saw this as reckless and damaging because the claims kept fueling online hostility toward Megan. The lawsuit argued that this prolonged negativity affected Megan's reputation and emotional well-being. The jury ultimately agreed. The financial award of more than $150,000 reflected the court's belief in the seriousness of the harm. This was not a symbolic judgment. It was a direct recognition that online commentary, when presented as fact, can cause real consequences. The result made headlines immediately, not just because Megan won, but because it marked a rare moment where an online personality faced legal accountability for what they said on social media. The verdict also highlighted a growing shift. Influencers and commentators now operate in a space where their voices can impact millions. The court's decision showed that this influence carries responsibility. When someone with a large platform spreads false claims about a public figure, the law can. This ruling made that clear, and for many, it felt like a turning point in how online commentary will be handled. The moment news of the verdict hit social media, reactions poured in from every corner of the internet. Megan's supporters saw it as long-awaited validation. They felt she had faced non-stop pressure and negativity for years, and the ruling finally acknowledged the impact of the false claims that circulated online. Many fans said the verdict closed a chapter that should have ended much earlier. They shared clips, comments, and posts celebrating what they viewed as a major win for Megan's reputation and peace of mind. On the other side, Milagro's followers responded with frustration. They argued that she was being unfairly targeted for expressing opinions, and they questioned whether the lawsuit was meant to silence her. Some of them insisted she had simply been giving commentary, while others accused the legal system of favoring celebrity. The divide became sharp, and it played out across platforms as people debated whether online personalities should be held to the same standards as traditional media. The wider internet treated the case as a signal of something bigger. Many creators and influencers started discussing how the verdict might affect their own platform. The idea that someone could face legal consequences over statements made on live streams or social media felt new and unsettling for a lot of people. It raised questions about how far commentary can go before it crosses potential legal trouble. The ruling became a reminder that large audiences bring large responsibility, and not everyone was ready for that conversation. Meanwhile, Milagro posted emotional responses online. She said she felt overwhelmed, targeted, and unsure of what would come next. Clips of her reactions spread just as quickly as updates about the verdict itself. Some viewers expressed sympathy, while others felt she had underestimated the risks involved with repeating claims that were already Her reaction only fueled more discussion, and for a moment, the internet was fully split between those who felt she crossed a line and those who felt she was being punished unfairly. The verdict did not just decide one loss, it exposed the shifting relationship between celebrity news, online commentary, and the legal system. People are still debating what it, and the conversation shows no sign of slowing down. The verdict did more than settle a dispute between Megan Thee Stallion and Milagro Gramz. It signaled a shift in how the online world is treated when legal questions arise. For years, creators felt their commentary existed in a gray area where opinions, reactions, and live stream discussions blended together without clear boundaries. This case showed that once a person builds a large enough audience, the law views their words differently. It no longer matters whether someone is a journalist or an influencer. If their platform reaches thousands, their statements can carry the same weight and the same responsibility. Creators across social media began paying closer attention. Many realized that repeating claims about public figures, especially when tied to major legal matters, could expose them to consequences they never expected. It is one thing to speculate lightly. It is another to insist that someone is being dishonest in situations that have already been addressed in court. The verdict underscored this difference, and online personalities knew they had to rethink how they approach commentary. Another major takeaway was the importance of accuracy. The jury did not focus on Milagro's tone or her style. They focused on the fact that she presented claims as truth without the support of verified information. That alone made the content harmful in the eyes of the court. For influencers who built careers covering celebrity news, this became a wake-up. The internet moves quick, but that speed does not protect anyone from accountability. At the same time, some creators worried about whether this ruling might discourage from speaking openly. They questioned how far the responsibility extends and how much caution is required before sharing. The verdict did not silence commentary, but it made it clear that there are limits. When someone repeats claims that mislead audience, especially after legal findings have already been made public, those statements can be challenged. The case also introduced a new conversation about Milagro gained traction by positioning herself as a leading voice around a high-profile conflict. Her audience trusted her, shared her clips, and used her commentary to shape their views. The court's decision showed that trust from viewers becomes a form of power, and once someone has that power, they are expected to use it responsibly. This ruling may not rewrite the entire internet, but it marked a turning point. It reminded creators that what they say can travel far, and once it leaves their platform, it becomes something bigger than a personal opinion. It becomes part of the narrative the world. When the verdict came down, it closed a long chapter for Megan Thee Stallion and opened a new one for the online world that followed this story for years. Milagro Gramz built her platform by speaking directly to an audience that trusted her voice, and that trust became the very thing the court examined. The ruling made it clear that once commentary grows to the level of influence her platform reached, the line between opinion and harmful misinformation cannot be ignored. That distinction is what ultimately shaped the outcome. For Megan, The judgment offered something she had not experienced in a long time, a clear acknowledgement that the constant public doubt and negativity surrounding her name had gone too far. The financial award mattered, but the validation mattered even more. It marked the first time a jury formally recognized the real impact of repeated false claims in the online space. For Milagro, the ruling served as a reminder that attention comes with responsibility. Her reactions after the verdict showed that she did not expect the outcome, and she did not anticipate how seriously the jury would treat her commentary. The internet may move quickly, but the court slowed everything down and placed every word under a microscope. That shift changed the way many creators look at their own platforms. This case will be remembered, not because it involved two public figures, but because it captured a moment when the digital world collided with legal accountability in a new way. It showed that influence is no longer defined by job title. It is defined by reach and impact. And when someone uses that reach to repeat false claims, the consequences can be real. As conversations continue online, one thing is certain. The verdict reshaped the way people view commentary, responsibility, and the power of an audience. It ended a long-running dispute and set a new expectation for what creators can and cannot say. And for the first time in this saga, the final word did not come from a live stream or a social media post. It came from a jury